Hello, this is Lisa Rusczyk.
And Donna Murphy.
With the podcast, We Are All Psychic. And today, Donna's going to answer this question for me, and maybe I'll answer a question for her. Donna, do you think we're all psychic?
I absolutely do think we're all psychic.
Good. I'm glad you do, because otherwise I wouldn't be your friend. Just kidding. That's see, I like your energetic exchanges with me, Donna. You know what I mean? Like, listeners and watchers, this is a video on Spotify and YouTube, and hopefully someday on Apple. But we want to talk about energetic currency today. And what does that mean to you, Donna? What is energetic?
To me, energetic, all interactions involve an energy exchange of some kind. Sometimes it's very fleeting and very, just very momentary, very ephemeral. I mean, but when you are ringing out your groceries and say thank you to the cashier or whatever, there's an energy exchange going on there. So to me, all human interaction involves some form of energy exchange. What I think is that we certainly can be aware of that. And I think to a certain extent can manage it. Not that every human interaction is a transaction, but because that's going to happen organically and naturally anyway, our awareness of it and how balanced it is, I look at it as the idea of value, the exchange of value.
Value, yeah.
And so if it's balanced, I think that can lead to very healthy relationships and very healthy creations.
Yes. And it's so weird.
Relationships.
Like for so many of us, we haven't had healthy relationships very much, very often. You're a healthy relationship for me, Donna. And but if listeners and watchers, if you pay attention to my personal life, it's gone boom. And something I do want to talk about in this podcast of energetic currency is that situation a little bit. We'll get there. I want to tell you guys what it feels like if you don't know when you have an energy exchange. And we can kind of talk. We were talking about this, Donna and I were before the podcast, how to describe what that feels like when you're talking to someone and you're noticing the energy exchange. So like Donna and I are talking right now on Zoom. And when I look at Donna's face, I feel happy. Like an energy feeling coming up through here, happy. When I look away from Donna and at the camera, I feel like I'm looking at you listeners, and that makes me happy too. But then when I look at the vape I'm trying to quit yet again, the energy kind of stops and it doesn't give me any energy back. So it seems like it comes from people, mostly living things. Now objects can give rocks and trees, and they can give you energy too. It's different kind.
Absolutely. And actually, the fact that we're so reliant on technology now, whether we think about it or not, the fact that we're always interacting with some form of electronic device, that's an energy exchange or an energy transfer also. And it can be really insidious.
It can.
If we're not careful, because everything just comes at us, right? I mean, people talk about doom scrolling. They talk about what's in their feed, whatever, whether that's social media or on platforms. So there's a constant, not only call for our attention, but that's not a one-way street. So I think it's really important that we're attentive to where is our attention going?
Right. Attention span.
What is it going? And then what's coming in? Because if we're just entirely open without some awareness, my sense is that some things get in that maybe are not ours, or that we don't want. Not because
sometimes someone might put it on us without being aware of it, or they are aware of it, their energy. For example, listeners and watchers, maybe you're like this. Maybe you have friends who come to you for their problems and they tell you their problems and you help them. And you feel good about yourself because they say thank you and you've helped them. They feel better because you helped them. But do you feel altogether better because you helped them, or is it because you got energy back as well from offering the help? I'm trying to say here, Donna, help me clarify that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because again, it's not even so important who's doing the giving and who's doing the receiving at any given moment. Where we run into problems, I think, is if a pattern begins to emerge, that one, no matter who it is doing all or most of the giving, and the other is doing all or most of the taking, that is going to cause an imbalance. And that imbalance either has to get calibrated, it has to get adjusted, or something's got to give.
And what I think is a lot of us, we're raised with examples of whoever raised us as to what these energy exchanges feel like and should be. Mm-hmm. So, listeners and watchers, this is where I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on in my personal life. And I do talk a lot about my personal life in this podcast, but this is stuff I don't ever talk about on the podcast. I may have hinted at it or mentioned it or something. Mm-hmm. My father kicked me out of the family last night, 2 nights ago. Mm-hmm. And the reason was because I'm too sick to take care of him. Mm-hmm. And he's sick and he's drunk. He's an alcoholic. I want to call him a drunk because I'm mad at him right now because he kicked me out of the family because I'm sick and can't take care of him physically. And I was willing to go down there and do it. And I was going to, but my brother was going at the same time. And he says to me during our energetic exchanges that are with my brother, usually fragile. It was a good word for that energy exchange with my brother, fragile, tiptoes and eggshells. And we were raised certain ways. I'm starting at the end and I'm going back to the beginning now. We're raised certain ways to believe these energy exchanges are the examples we want in our lives because our parents tell us that, our siblings tell us that, our people who raised us tell us this. And then they may be people who manipulate you and tell you you're a piece of shit or that you're helpless, hopeless, thoughtless, all those things. And you think that's what your energy exchange is about. You're supposed to give that person everything. And you've been taught that all your life. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Does that happen to you, listeners and watchers? Anyone? Do you know that experience? I think a lot of you do, because I told my father after he kicked me out of the family that the reason I know how to work with energy is because he was an alcoholic when I grew up and I had to walk on eggshells all my life because I never knew what the family dynamic would be. My mother was walking on eggshells too. And she took out everything my dad did on me because she couldn't get him to change. So she tried to change me. And that has never changed.
And that's not an uncommon dynamic in families where there is, I consider alcohol and substance abuse kind of the same thing. You're still abusing a substance that not only alters your body chemistry, your brain chemistry, but it also has a negative effect on all interactions.
Yeah.
It colors every interaction. So that's not an uncommon dynamic. The idea that children of alcoholics in particular, or substance abusers in particular, learn early on how to read the room, right?
We've talked about that on the podcast a lot.
Because you have to gauge, kind of what's the temperature. Yeah. What's the temperature today? Right.
Exactly.
What's the temperature?
What is the emotional energetic currency temperature? What am I going to do today is how I was raised.
Right. And then and then how do you navigate that?
How do you navigate? And how do you figure out when you're older and you're on your own and you're 50 and you're just figuring this stuff out? Maybe you're 80, maybe you're 20. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're lucky and you figure it out early. I didn't want to believe my parents were like this. I don't want to believe they hate me and they don't like me and they're transactional energetically and love-wise with conditional love is what I was raised with. And this is something I told my father. And I said, I learned to work with the energy because of you. And he said, well, you can let energy pay your bills. And that's why we're doing this podcast. Energy is a currency. So do I have it in me physically, mentally, emotionally to take care of myself in the situation I'm at with $100 in my bank account right now, March 5th, 2026. By April 1st, will I have $1,805 to pay my rent? And my car payment is $400. I usually can, if I'm not sick, I could totally take care of this. No problem. I make great clients. I have great clients. I love my job. I love my work. But emotionally, I'm not going to take my energy into a reading with a client when I can't give my best, Yeah. So it's also a weird job. It's a job where I can't just push myself and work, because it's not fair to the client and it's not right. It's not ethically right to me. And part of my job is all about ethics, being a psychic reader is a very ethical, boundaries and lines and intricacies, all about that,
Well, and for me, the measure is always presence. So if I'm not well, for example, I realize that I am not going to be present in the way that I would be if I were feeling well. If I'm ill, or if I've had a major, upheaval of some kind or whatever, that's not the time to try to show up for a client, because I know I can't show up for that client and be present in the way that I not only need to be, but want to be.
Right. Right.
Because I want to do that part of that. Right.
Because the best part, the energy exchange is stronger, better, and more healing that way.
Yes.
That's the energetic currency. It's like there isn't any then. It's just free flowing. Yeah. It's like we're rolling in money, energetic money rolling around in energetic currency. And it doesn't matter anymore,
Yeah.
Like when I get in those places, like with you, Donna, I feel that way a lot. Like we can just free flow talk. There's no pressure. There's no back of my head. What's she thinking about me? Or, anything like that with you as an example.
Yeah.
I feel like we have a very good energy exchange, and you and I have both been taken advantage of a lot.
That is true.
I've heard you being taken advantage of a lot from what you see. I see it that way anyway.
Yeah, that is true.
We're giving.
And I think, and I think the thing is too, there's the flow, but I think when you have a certain level of comfort in the way that the energy is flowing back and forth, and it is sort of seamless.
Yeah.
But the overall feeling to it is that there's no hidden agenda. In other words, whatever's going on is what's going on.
Yeah.
There isn't another agenda.
It's authentic. We're being ourselves and honest.
Right.
How hard is that?
There's no agenda. Or there's no agenda. There's no backstory. Yeah. There's no undercurrent that is something else.
Yeah. And it makes me feel really good when I have those kinds of connections, when there isn't any undercurrent. It's very rare. But when I do find them, it's usually with people who are in the field, like you, in the professional psychic field, because we work on ourselves and try to get here and keep there and stay there. Yes. Energetically, with our energies and our boundaries, energy good and level, boundaries set and open, but safe. And I've never felt safe, listeners and watchers, all my life. Can you see why? Not only has my family made me the scapegoat and bullied me basically when I was sick, put me in ice baths and told me a hypochondriac, stuff like that. And then they still don't accept that I have this disorder because it's just not true to them, even though it's dominant hereditary trait. So one of them has to have it, or a genetically mutation. But if you look at my family line, listeners and watchers, everybody looks young. They all had the same problems I do physically: back, stomach, neck. And they just never got it diagnosed. It's so obvious, but nobody cares because I am the black sheep. I am the one that is put down. I have that role that was assigned to me. They gave me, is what it feels like. And it was a role that I don't play anymore. And once I laid it all out for my father, listeners and watchers, a couple nights ago, and he kicked me out of the family for not being able to physically take care of him, crushed me. It crushed me, Donna. It crushed me. And it crushed me because he says he wants to kill himself when my mom dies. He tells his daughter that. And this is not energetically kind. This is abuse. It's cruel.
It's cruel. And not only that, if it were in fact a cry for help, and then there was a willingness to say, I can't cope with this. I do want to die or commit suicide. I'm drowning. I'm beyond any way to help myself. I'm beyond any ways to help, but they won't accept any help. There's that. And then there's this denial that says, no, there is no solution. If somebody says there is no solution, and you try for a solution or a resolution and say, well, we could try this, we could try that, we could do this, we could do that, and the answer to everything is no, then you really are, at that point, you're helpless, because there are ways potentially that they could both get some help.
Yes.
And what that might mean for
a lot of ways. Everybody's asking to help them, but they won't they won't accept family. It won't accept help unless it's from the family. Me. Well, I can't do it. I'm physically incapable.
And you can't, right. And
my dad weighs like 200 pounds. I can't pick him up. He falls down like 3 times a day sometimes. Yeah. Every morning, he literally rolls out of bed.
Yeah. No, and so, well, there again, there's that denial, because if the answer to everything is no, or the only acceptable solution is also not possible because You are physically not capable. Let's set aside everything else. You physically are not capable of giving him that kind of care. That's another no.
It is another no.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a guaranteed
he wants it this way.
failure.
He's trying to control life, and you can't.
Right.
You can't control life. You can't control anything. I can't control anything anyway, except me and my thoughts and my actions. And that's what I'm doing.
And your choices. So that's the other thing. Because if the only choice is, I won't accept anything but this kind of help and only from this person who I know cannot physically provide it to me. Is not.
And when they say no, they can't. It's just trying to kill yourself slowly by hurting other people too. You're bringing everyone down with you is what it looks like. And that is a bad energetic exchange, listeners and watchers, and it hurts other people.
Right. And with addictions, again, that's not uncommon because not only is it a very slow form of suicide, sometimes faster than others, but it is a slow form of suicide. But the other thing is the self-destruction doesn't stop at self-destruction. It takes everything and everyone down with it.
It does, Donna.
Anything that's in the gravitational pull, right, gets sucked down.
And that is energetic as all kinds of hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everyone feels it. That ripples out in the energy to everyone in the city, everyone in the state, everyone in the country. It does with every single family dynamic, listeners and watchers. I believe that. I believe if my neighbor over there is having an issue, I think it's going to affect the whole city in some way, in some energetic way.
Right. And the thing is, it's small. It's like that drop. It's like that drop of water in the ocean. You think, well, it's a drop of water in the ocean. It still makes a difference. As small as it may seem, it does make a difference.
It does.
And enough drops change things on a bigger level. But that interconnectedness that I really do believe exists, that does make a difference. And that's why there's what happens, like our own, if you want to call it personal hygiene,
I like that.
mental hygiene, spiritual hygiene,
energetic hygiene,
energetic hygiene. There's that. But again, the more we're able to do that, the better effect, obviously, in terms of the quality of our lives, but the better the ripple effect is.
Yeah.
So it definitely, it definitely does make a difference. It's small, it's infinitesimal.
And the same thing goes for positive.
But it does make a difference.
And it makes a difference if it's positive in positive energy, as far as
sure.
I mean, love and intentions put into action. Good intentions put into action. Those energies, like if you were here and you got me a cup of tea and I couldn't get up because I'm all messed up or something, that would mean the world to me for you to offer it, for one thing.
Yeah.
Wow, she's thinking of me and she knows I'm thirsty because she's psychic. And then she gets me my favorite tea because she's psychic. I don't know what my favorite. I got like chamomile right now. Chamomile and kudzu is my thing. And right now. And so she gets this for me, and then I take it from her and we smile at each other and we're happy and energetically exchanging without a word, you know, and we feel it. Listeners, we don't talk all the time. I talk all the time. But I mean, really, we sit around with people and don't talk sometimes, and there's energy exchanging in the silence. All this, what do we call it? A tense silence. What is a tense silence? It's energy being not exchanged.
Right. And we all know the difference between that kind of tense silence, that kind of hangs in the air, but also that kind of very comfortable, relaxed silence where it's like, well, we don't really need to say anything right now. Everybody's in a good space, right? Yeah. So all of those things, because everybody, I think, does pick up on that, can sense it, can feel it, can tell the difference. So yeah, absolutely, it does make a difference what's out there in the environment or what's getting put out there into the environment by each of us.
And I really do believe, this is my personal belief, that people who energetically abuse other people in some way on purpose or not on purpose, I think there's insecurity at the root of it. I don't think people suck at the root of all their actions or inactions that show that they don't care about me. I'm using me as an example. And then Gandalf snoring, and it just caught my attention. It just took my attention because his snoring is so cute. And it just, my attention span just went bloop to Gandalf's purring. There goes my energy. It went to Gandalf. I'm exchanging it with his purring, sleeping self, listeners and watchers. I had a point, but it just went away, Donna, because of that snore. Got to pick it back up. So I guess I remember what I was going to say. If everybody in the world could look at their insecurities and choose to, and really say, why do I have this insecurity? They'll probably find out it's not where it comes from isn't what they think. They're really not. They don't suck. They did something bad, but they fixed it, or it's over, and it's, they can let go. There's things you can do, listeners and watchers, if you feel bad about yourself and you're stuck in insecurities and you're treating people badly and you feel like that, or if you don't know you're doing it and other people are telling you that you're hurting people and you feel it in the energy, the truth, no matter what, the truth is in the energy. If there is a truth, it's in the energy. How can you say you know anything, really?
Well, and I think, unfortunately, what happens, and I think it may happen to all of us to some greater or lesser degree, maybe there's some people it doesn't happen to, but just as you were speaking, I started thinking about the difference, like they say, between guilt and shame.
Yes. That's what my parents have used as a weapon against me, guilt and shame.
But the thing is, if you've done something wrong and you can either make amends, sometimes maybe you can't make amends. Maybe it happened a long time ago, but you've kind of carried it around with you like, wow, I did something I really shouldn't have done, or I hurt somebody that I really, shouldn't have hurt, whatever it might be. Sometimes you can't make amends. I mean, not directly, but you can understand that there are ways to, first of all, the behavior change. In other words, you won't do that again, and you don't do it again. So there's that. But all of that, if you want to come down to, I'll say maybe kind of the piece of it that says that was a bad act.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me a bad person.
Right. I'm learning. You're learning.
But the other is the belief that any bad act actually makes you as a being a bad person.
Yeah.
That if you made one mistake or you did something wrong or whatever, that makes you a bad person. And that's kind of the guilt shame difference, because you can be, you could have actions that you are not proud of, that you would not repeat.
Absolutely.
That you would or do make amends for the best you can. And you don't repeat the behavior. That again, that's healthy.
Yes.
But if you're carrying those things saying, I did XYZ, therefore I am a bad person, there's something about that implies sort of an irredeemable state, because then that's who you are.
You make yourself that identity.
Yeah. And then it becomes your identity. Then you're a bad person. And so if you're a bad person and you're a piece of shit, why would you even bother with you, much less why would anybody else bother with you?
Maybe that's how my dad feels. Maybe that's how he's feeling. It probably is.
It's very possible.
The insecurities are so deep, and his parents were horrid to him.
Yeah.
They had millions of dollars. My grandfather was an inventor for Boeing, and they raised him in a quadplex with no doors and no furniture except beds and one door on the bathroom. And they had 4 children. My grandparents. And they did this because they said they lived through the Depression and they didn't want to ever be like that again. So they just stayed that way. And, I mean, they never spent the money ever.
Well, because I'm older than you, and my parents were quite a bit older when they had me. My parents lived through the Depression, grew up in the Depression. And believe me, while there are things which right now, I guess I still sometimes catch myself doing, and I think they're kind of quaint, because you do get a mindset that you don't waste things, right? You don't waste things. You reuse things. You don't immediately go out and buy a new this or buy a new that. Believe it or not, again, talk about quaint. You got a hole in your sock. Well, you actually darn the hole in your sock. You didn't go throw them away and buy new socks. But my parents were not, but it didn't twist them into the kind of fear that says, I cannot part with a dime or a dollar, because if I do, I'll never get it back and I'll be poor again. And I can't, and I'm terrified of that.
Yeah.
It didn't twist them.
Good.
It impacted them absolutely. And it impacted us because, again, that idea of, I know now it's reuse, recycle, upcycle, be mindful. Long before that was a thing, that's how we grew up. And they didn't do it because they were worried about the environment. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't care about the environment. That was not the focus. The focus was you made things last.
Yeah.
And you respected your things. And yes, there comes a time when you have to throw something away and get a new thing, whatever that thing might be. But everything in life was not simply disposable. Throw it away and get another one. Throw it away, get another one. It's got to always be bigger, better, more. Bigger, better, more. We were not raised that way. We were raised to understand the value of something, and that using something until you needed to replace, rationally needed to replace it or whatever, was just good sense. It was just looked at as common sense. It was not looked at, it wasn't a moral thing. It wasn't like being on a moral high ground.
Yeah.
It was just, that's what you did because stuff wasn't just all disposable. Everything in life was not disposable.
Right. You've got some really great ideas about this. I think you've thought about this before, Donna.
Oh yeah.
This is like a big, you have.
We're all shaped. I mean, we are all shaped by our upbringing and by the people who raise us, no matter who that is, whoever is a parent or in the parental role raising us from when we're little, right? Our caregiver. We take in all kinds of messages and information and everything. Most of that is in the system, like is programmed into the system by about age 3. Now think about that.
I know, it's crazy.
Because we're barely verbal at 3.
We don't remember, we think, those things.
And but I'm just saying, so there's a lot of things that get programmed in. And since no one's perfect, I mean, even loving parents or loving caregivers are not perfect, right? Because they have their own baggage, they have their own fears, they make their own mistakes. The fact is, all of that stuff that goes in, at some point, we start out, I think, just taking that as a given. That's the way the world is. That's the way I am. That's the way people are.
Yeah.
But hopefully, especially if it's truly limiting or hurting or restricting your growth, then you do have to look at it.
Yes.
And question it. As unquestioning as it seems, it's like, but that's just the truth. And it's like, well, but maybe it really isn't, or maybe it was the truth. Because at 3 years old, you're not going to have the cognitive or the verbal or the physical ability to say, oh, no, this needs to be different.
Yeah, you don't have any context. This is what
But when you're 30, you have a different set of skills.
Yeah.
And you have different things at your disposal so that you can question safely, but then also challenge what actually may not be true, even if it felt true at the time or was true at the time, and you did what you needed to do to keep yourself safe at the time with the only tools that you had.
I love that. Yeah, that's true. And, when I was just thinking, like, when I think about people who bully other people, that's probably one of the biggest energy feelings I can feel, probably because I was bullied. But you can feel it in listeners and watchers. If you want to know what energetic feelings is like, and you're trying to pin that down for yourself, like anger and someone being mad at you and feeling this wall of just hate and anger and just bad energy coming at you when someone's mad at you. You know what I'm talking about, Donna? It's like, listeners, if you ever had that happen and you feel it coming at you like a wall, to me, it's like a wall coming at me and it's about to hit me. But, and when it actually does hit me, I feel really bad physically and emotionally and mentally and energetically because I'm being picked on, and I don't know how to defend myself and I'm not safe, so these are the energetic feelings that I don't have words for that are happening, for example, if I'm being bullied. So that's how that feels. But then I have like other kinds of energy exchanges, love. Like if you're in love with someone and it's a good relationship, listeners, it should be a good relationship. I hope it will be. They will listen and you will listen. And there's a good give and take with talking. There's a good give and take with understanding. Nobody's demanding too much. It's not always like the relationship is not always 50-50. It can be like, 80-20 sometimes,
Sometimes it's 95-5, but
It really is.
it's always in flux.
It
And
changes.
the thing
You
about,
help each other. Yeah.
and the thing about bullying in particular, I think, is that it really is, it's an attempt to control through, greater power, whether that's physical, or it takes other forms too. But I mean, I think about, like, especially when you're a kid, usually that's a physical thing. The bully is the bigger, stronger, more
Yeah.
powerful person, and they're
using whatever
manipulating.
they can to manipulate people
Yeah.
and hurt them to do what they want. But why?
Yeah.
I can't grasp the concept of energetic exchange where I take all the energy. I just can't think of that way. I don't think I feel good because I love sharing energy. To me, that feels natural and good. It feels like light.
And I think, though, that there again, I think that there's a miswiring in the circuits, because that person may be very likely feels powerless enough that they think that's their only option for feeling some sense of empowerment. And chances are they've been either bullied or manipulated, whether it's emotionally or physically.
Oh, my dad was.
So
his parents were horrible.
Right. So they become, right. So they become, instead of acted upon, that's the only thing, especially if they're still relatively young when those traits come out. And the idea of I'm bigger than you, or I'm stronger than you, or I'm more popular than you, or
I'm
whatever,
healthier than you,
or I'm healthier than you, whatever it might be, and that becomes the bludgeon to beat other people into submission, comes from, again, a lack of any kind of real security or real sense of empowerment, because it's like I know what it feels like to be on the receiving end, but rather than feeling empathy or sympathy, it's like I'm not going to be on the receiving end with anybody else. I'm going to be the actor rather than the acted upon.
Yes. That's
to try to get some sense of,
before they get me, I'm going to get them.
I'm going to get them. Exactly.
I think I have that attitude sometimes because of my defensiveness, because of the way I was raised, because I'm always waiting to be attacked.
Right. Although I still don't think it makes you cruel or intentionally mean or harsh with people. No, I don't think so.
I don't want to be mean. I don't understand why people do it on purpose. I guess they want to collect all the energy for themselves, but they're pushing energy away too. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why. I don't understand. I can't brain it.
And I'm not sure I'm not sure they fully understand that whatever energy they are able to, I'll say, kind of successfully draw in. Again, kind of going back to the black hole theory, it's never going to be enough.
You're right.
No matter what. It's either going to be already negative.
They have to fix themselves and be happy inside.
Right. It's either going to be negative because that person who's giving you energy is giving it grudgingly and only because you basically beat it out of them. I mean, even if that means figuratively.
Yeah.
Or it's a grudging, I'm going to give this to you because I have to, but I certainly don't want to. So there's resentment or whatever. It's going to be negative.
Yeah.
And anything that might be positive, it isn't really going to come in. So there again, it's like a black hole. There's going to be
like a black hole. That's the best metaphor.
But it's never going to satisfy. But it's not going to satisfy anything because that isn't really what people want. I mean, they don't want someone's hate. Mm-mm. They'll get it because they've set up for that, but they don't. But that's not what they actually want.
Well, I don't hate my dad. I am just very angry. I'm hurt.
Understood. And there is no.
I'm not as angry as I am hurt, and that my anger usually is the curtain behind the covering up the hurt. Usually,
Understood. And then people who are getting that, even if they do get kindness from somebody, it's still not going to be enough.
You're right. They don't think it is kindness. They think they should do more.
Yeah. Or that there's something, right, if somebody's giving me kindness, that means something's wrong with them. And if something's wrong with them, then do I even want this? Or even so, it's kind of like, it's kind of like, oh, wait a minute, you're being nice to me?
Yeah, I have that experience a lot because you probably do too. You're a nice person and you like to help people and make them happy. And if you naturally like that, people suspect you. It shouldn't be like that in the world.
Maybe you haven't maybe you haven't.
That's what I said. So they seem to think that way about me. A lot of people, of course, my human design says people project onto me who they want me to be. And I don't know that. Something I'm not aware of, that I can't pick up on, according to human design listeners and watchers. And I like that because I feel like that's true.
And the other thing
repeat back to me who I am, and then they tell me who they think I am, and it doesn't match anything about who I am. And I'm very just an open book, man. I say everything I feel and think, and you can ask me anything, but people still put on me that I'm doing this or that. Probably because their experiences and their insecurities and their energy.
Well, that is projection. Yeah, that is projection. That is projection. And then the other thing is, too, for a lot of people who, for whatever reason, and again, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not either. I don't diagnose people. Anybody, though, who's engaging in, I'll just call them narcissistic behaviors. I'm not going to say the person is a narcissist.
Selfish.
But if it's selfish, if it's self-centered, if it feels narcissistic in the sense that it's only about them, whatever it might be, one thing, and you will find this with people who have either those tendencies or are having trouble with boundaries or have unhealed wounds, trauma, whatever you want to call it.
From bad energy currency.
Yeah, very much so. And then the other thing is there's often a desire then to find somebody to be their emotional regulator. I don't mean someone
I did that. I did that with my husband, my second husband. He was basically my parents.
Yeah. And you're looking for someone to be your emotional regulator, which no one else can actually be.
Oh, no, you're right. I
mean, a person, if you're working with somebody, maybe as a reader, a healer, a coach, whatever, they can teach you ways to do it for yourself.
And they will. And I have been taught by a lot of readers and healers like you and all these people who come on the podcast too.
Yes.
Every day I'm learning from people like that.
But you cannot expect another human being to become your emotional regulation system. That's not what they're here for.
No, you can't.
And even if somebody, I would say, tries to, I'll call it willingly, sign on for that, it isn't going to work.
No.
It isn't going to work.
It's not living your life for yourself. You're living
a responsibility that another human being can't take for you.
Yeah. It's just, I'm not saying I know myself perfectly and that I accept myself perfectly and love myself perfectly or anything like that. But I spend a lot of time trying to do my best and better myself in my opinion of what better is, whatever my ideal is. I'm very idealistic, as you know, and you are too, I think. I think the only difference is that you're the thinker and I'm the feeler in the personality types.
Yes.
We did our personality type compatibility with the Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Briggs. And she sent me an article about comparing. What are you again?
I mean, as much as I've struggled against it all these years, I'm in fact an ENTJ.
I am an INFP. So she sent me this article with like putting the two personalities together. It's really rad because it made so much sense.
Yeah, and it's very complementary.
Yeah, we are.
And it's very complementary. So that's really good. I think that's why we have such an easy flow between us rapport. And a really good dynamic.
I remember the first time I met you, I was like, blah, 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 blah. I felt
me too.
I knew you forever.
Because we're very complementary. And
that's an energy exchange. When you meet someone and you feel familiarity, that's the energy. Maybe you meet them from somewhere in a past life or a dream or something, Something going on there. I love that feeling. Something else I kind of wanted to touch on was psychic vampires. So listeners and watchers, if you've heard that term of psychic vampire, and we've talked about it before, but it's basically someone who purposely drains your energy on purpose, consciously, usually, and sometimes unconsciously
sometimes it's unconscious.
They start unconscious and then they start getting reward from it and they wonder why I feel this way. And if they dig deeper, they'll figure it out. It's energy. And then they become the Wicked Witch of the West. Oh my goodness. So Donna, I really need advice from you. But first I want to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app and website where you can get advice from psychics and empaths to get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And Donna and I are both advisors. And guess what? What are you going to tell them, Donna?
I am now on Everclear as who I am, Donna Murphy.
She's out initially
there, man. Initially when I first joined them, and I guess they don't force you, but they encourage you to use a a screen name, right?
A name you've never used before anywhere else.
A name you've not used before anywhere else. So anyway, so that's how I started out. But especially now with the podcast and everything else, it's really confusing because people might watch the podcast and they're like, oh, Donna Murphy, I really want to look her up on Everclear. And then it's like, I can't find her on Everclear. And even though I would mention to people on Everclear, this is who I am. Now on Everclear, I'm, guess who? Donna Murphy. Yes.
It's happened.
It's happened, listeners. Very pleased.
It's happened, watchers. And I'm Lisa Rusczyk as usual. But I was Lisa P, and that was a long time ago. But that does happen. And before you know it, Donna, you forget Maria M ever existed.
Yeah.
I would put name change from Maria M in there in your bio. So people
I'll try to sneak it into I'll take something else out of the bio because again, we're limited.
Oh, yeah, we have limited characters, guys.
Yeah, you can't have like War and Peace as your bio. Those pages.
I would go to that reader in a heartbeat if they had a
more. Let me tell you more about me.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, no, we are limited, so I'll find a way to edit so that I can put that in.
That's just great. I love it. I love Everclear.
Yeah, I'm really pleased.
Bosses. I can tell so many great stories about how they helped me out in unbelievable ways, just with clients and handling situations.
It's a great platform. It really is a great platform.
But I want to ask you for advice, Donna, because I have choices ahead of me in the next month. Mm-hmm. Now, my health is pretty stable right now. Mm-hmm. Had a POTS flare today, but that's pretty typical. It's calming down because I took glucose and I'm drinking my electrolyte water. I could stay in this apartment and try to make it this month and really put, I do that every month. I put my feet down and I'm going to do it. But I get sick. So I have options. I could spend the month selling all my stuff and maybe living in a motel or something, or just taking off somewhere. I have to think of my cats because they're my babies. Yeah. They are my family.
Exactly. And they've got to come. They've not only got to come with you wherever you go, they have to be able to live wherever you live.
They have to be comfortable and not.
That's what I mean. Really live, not be stuck in a carrier 24 hours a day.
No, I'm not going to let that happen. Yeah, if I can. No. I'm not going to let that happen. I would no. So I have that option. I have the motel option. I have, to keep looking around here. I don't have anyone inviting me anywhere, of course, because I have no family. So I could stay here and do it. My dad said to pay my bills with energy. This is energy.
Well, I know he was being sarcastic, but quite honestly,
I think I could.
You like where you're
I can make the money to live here, but my health is so unstable. I don't want to. I'm afraid to take that step because what if I don't make it? Then I'm without the plan of selling stuff and don't have the option,
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. But I really think in this case, the fear is just that. It's a fear. And I think you would be happier if you were able to not pretend you're not afraid, or even I'll say overcome the fear, but look at the bigger picture than what the fear presents. You've made it this far. My feeling is you're happy where you are. That's the sense I get, that it's become home for you. Even if it's not your forever home, it's become home for you.
Yeah, it has.
Right now, any other option, like living out of a hotel. Living out of a hotel.
I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. But I know what my.
And it cannot. No. You do have choices. You do have options. That's just it. Yes. And I really feel like if you set the intention that this is where you want to stay, and you ask for help, angelic help, guidance, whatever.
Yes.
Not necessarily people, although you never know who's going to step forward. Sometimes when you ask for angelic help, a person comes in, right? Which is great, wonderful, welcome them. But in the meantime, don't worry about don't worry about who you could call to ask or whatever. Go with the idea, to me, the intention that you want to stay where you are, that you are perfectly able to stay where you are.
Perfectly able.
And that because you've already now proved to yourself that you have been able to. There's no reason that can't continue.
That's true.
And even if there was additional support or something else coming in from somewhere else, from your family, whatever, that almost doesn't. I know it matters, but it almost doesn't matter in this context, because whatever that is, there's always, the universe is not running short of anything. It's not. It's not running short on anything. Well, sometimes. And because there's no shortage of anything in the universe that you need or want, it's there for you. You just have to tap it.
I love that. I never really thought of it that way before. And I think I'm going to start thinking that every day a few times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what that's what my heart tells me.
I will listen
to you,
if
you set it as an intention and that's
for the help and
kind of matter of fact that, yeah, I'm going to ask them for help. And I know, because I've done it this far. I've made it this far. This is the way I want to continue. So please help me continue in this way. And then even if you do have some fear, again, you don't necessarily have to eradicate it. You just have to sort of relegate it somewhere else while you focus on all the things that are not fear-based that are available to you.
And it sucks because I don't have much that's not fear-based. Listeners, Gandalf's behind me on his cat post.
See, he's fine. He's totally relaxed. He's
little baby, a shaved belly. Yeah, I think you're right, Donna. I'm going to go for it, listeners and watchers. I'm going to try to make it here myself. Screw selling my stuff. I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and it's not that the stuff is so important that you can't let it go.
Oh, it's not the stuff. It's the fear. I'm afraid.
Well, and see that, but that's the thing. The idea of letting go of something that you love and that you treasure and that brings joy into your life.
Donna, I left 2 men with everything. Both husbands.
I understand
everything and like bags
and started from scratch.
I didn't want to go through a divorce and stuff drama. We didn't have much, neither of us. Why fight them for it? I don't want anything to do with them. I don't want to fight with them. I don't want them in my life. I want them gone. Why do that? Stuff is stuff. You can get more.
Right. But for right now, to walk away from those things when you actually don't have to.
You're true.
You're just afraid that you will have to. And there is a difference. Right. I think that's why trying this going forward, I think is going to show you that is not necessary. That seems like a move of desperation.
It is. I feel desperate, but I'm used to feeling that way. And I jumped and jump and jump. I've been trained that way, but plus I have HEDS, which gives me the fight or flight.
Right. And it's like, okay, I've got to keep myself safe. So what do? I go into crisis. Yeah. Go into crisis mode, go into emergency mode. I've got to do something right now, this second. Or I'm going to die.
Exactly. Basically. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's an energy tornado.
Yeah.
It's not an energy spiral. It's just me making my energy just go crazy and just not.
It's an energy spiral. Yeah.
Spiral. That's a good way to put it. That's great advice, Donna. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to take your advice. And that's why I asked for it. And I was feeling that way when we started the podcast. I was starting to think that way. And I really do.
I'll help you.
And you know what I want to say? I want to say thank you for the energy and thank you for helping me. And I want to say thank you for the energy exchange of this podcast, because it really means a lot to me that you listen to me and open up with this information and this topic with me on this podcast.
Yeah,
it's very sensitive subject for me. And I
understand.
Hardcore for me.
And I think though that a lot of our listeners and watchers have probably been in a similar situation or had similar experiences. So I'm hoping I'm glad it's helping you. I'm glad to be here to help you. I hope it's helping whoever watches and listens.
Me too.
Because it'll give them maybe some helpful perspective. But definitely. Yeah, definitely. But all of our podcasts have been really, really wonderful. I've enjoyed every guest we've had. I've enjoyed the experience. Working with you is just a pleasure. And I'm glad to be here.
We just kiss each other's butts all day. Yeah. The rest of the podcast, bend over. Oh my gosh, you're so much fun, Donna. Thank you. For real, thank you. And listeners and watchers, you know what? We love you. I'm telling Donna loves you. She's energetically exchanging love to you. I'm energetically sending love to you. Receive it. Send it back.
Yes.
Subscribe, watch, listen, follow, comment on this. Tell us about your tragedies. We want to hear about them.
It's okay.
We want to help you with them, energetically heal them.
Yes, we are here.
Just saying it, just doing this podcast has made me feel better, exchanging the energy of this pain and trauma and transmuting it with you, Donna, because that's what I feel like you helped me do in this podcast. It felt more like a reading than a podcast.
Yeah.
Really did. Thank you. And I guess lastly, I'll say goodbye to you guys, listeners and watchers. Okay. And next week we got more podcasts coming. We do have Jennifer Love. She was supposed to come on yesterday, but I just couldn't do it. And I think she's rescheduling sometime next week. I don't know yet, but we'll find out. Yeah. And listeners and watchers, Donna, thank you so much.
Thank you all so much, Lisa. Thank you. And I will see you all soon.
Okay, guys, you all have some nice energetic exchanges, and pay attention when it doesn't feel good, because that means somebody's maybe doing something you don't like with your energy.
Yeah. You
And
need to pay
you
attention
have
to that.
total control over your own energy. That is something
Yes.
you have control over, your own energy as well
Yes.
as your thoughts and your body. So you can do whatever you need to do to protect yourself, like energy, with your energy, like walls, white pyramid, violet flame, all those things really work for
Yeah, they
making
do.
imagination work, techniques. And that's the last thing I wanted to say. And listeners, thank you for always listening and watching. And I know this is a weird podcast episode, but thanks for hanging in there. And
yeah, thank you all very much.
Love you, Donna. Love
all
you,
right.
listeners.
Love you.
Peace
Bye
out.
for now.
Bye.